is a very specific type of person who believes they cannot be touched. Not because they've trained, not because they've studied, but because they've never been seriously tested. And that untested confidence is one of the most dangerous things a person can carry, because it doesn't come with a warning label. It just keeps growing quietly until the day it walks into a room it has absolutely no business being in.
Street fighters operate on reputation, on the energy they project, and on the fear they create in people who don't know any better. That system works until it doesn't, because professional fighters aren't scared of energy. They've spent years getting hit by dangerous people and learning how to stay calm when everything around them is falling apart. So when a street fighter steps to someone like that, they aren't starting a fight, they're ending their own. Every clip in this video is proof of that. Let's get into it. Number 1. Manny Pacquiao versus DKU, the Bruce Lee claimant. Calling yourself the next Bruce Lee is the kind of claim that eventually demands evidence. And when you make it loudly enough, someone is going to ask you to back it up. That someone was Manny Pacquiao, an 8-division world champion who has shared the ring with the best fighters on the planet across a career spanning decades. DKU came in with energy and theatrics, moving in ways clearly designed to look impressive rather than be effective. Then Pacquiao started working. His left hand found its range and simply didn't stop. DKU tried to survive, tried to find angles, tried anything he could think of. None of it mattered. By the time the referee stepped in, the gap between what DKU had claimed to be and what he actually was had been made completely and permanently clear. Number 2. YouTuber pranks Raul Rosas Jr. at his own gym. Content creators who use professional fighters as material make one consistent miscalculation. They assume the fighter will either play along or walk away. This YouTuber walked into Raul Rosas Jr.'s gym, started claiming ownership over his equipment, and treated a UFC fighter's personal training space like a set for his next upload. Rosas absorbed it with a patience that was genuinely uncomfortable to watch, because anyone who understood what they were looking at could see the window narrowing with every new provocation. There is a specific expression trained fighters get when they've made a decision but haven't acted on it yet. Rosas had that expression for most of this clip. The prankster revealed the setup just before things crossed a line they couldn't come back from. He got his content, but watching it back, it is very clear how close that margin actually was. Number 3. Mike Perry confrontation. There are fighters who avoid confrontation if at all possible, who understand the smartest move is usually the one that never gets physical. Mike Perry has never been that kind of fighter. His entire career has been built on a very straightforward philosophy, which is exactly what makes getting in his face one of the more puzzling choices a person can make. In this clip, the tension builds fast, words are exchanged, space disappears, and the energy in the room shifts immediately because everyone present understands what Perry represents. Not just someone who can fight, but someone who genuinely doesn't mind it. The look on every face watching says everything. They all understood what the aggressor clearly didn't. Number 4. Nate Diaz takes down guys at the gym. Before the main event fights and the legendary callouts, there was a version of Nate Diaz that simply showed up to the gym every day and worked. This 2002 footage captures exactly that. No audience, no cameras rolling for content, just Diaz in a gym doing what Diaz does to anyone who stepped in front of him. What makes this clip worth watching is the consistency, the way he moves through sparring partners without changing his energy, without ever looking like the situation is anything other than completely routine. That is what decades of serious training produces. Not aggression, not performance, just a baseline level of competence so deeply embedded, it operates the same way whether the cameras are on or not. Number 5. Anthony Smith versus home intruder. Most people who hear a noise in the middle of the night have one instinct: stay still, call for help, and hope it goes away. Anthony Smith is not most people. When an intruder broke into his home screaming and moving aggressively through the house, Smith didn't freeze. He moved toward the threat, because he had 3 daughters, a wife, and family in that house. There is no footage of what happened next, which is probably appropriate. But Smith's post-incident account sounds less like a traumatic home invasion and more like a calm post-fight interview. Clinical, composed, completely factual. That is what real training produces. Not recklessness, but the ability to function clearly when everything around you is falling apart. Number 6. Cowboy Cerrone road rage. Road rage operates on a deeply flawed assumption that the other driver is just another person, and the odds of them being genuinely dangerous are low enough to ignore. This driver made that assumption about Donald Cerrone, known as Cowboy, a man with over 50 professional MMA fights and a reputation as one of the most dangerous strikers in the lightweight division. He was at a gas station minding his own business when the aggressor decided whatever happened at a traffic light was worth escalating in a parking lot. Cerrone gave the man a simple opportunity to make a better decision. The man didn't take it. What happened next was brief, because encounters like that are always brief when one person person has spent their entire adult life preparing for exactly that moment.
Number 7. Italian Troll versus Sonny Edwards. This one started the way most modern confrontations start, online. An Italian man spent weeks trolling British boxing champion Sonny Edwards across social media from behind a screen where distance makes everything feel safer than it actually is. Sonny absorbed it professionally and then did the one thing that completely changes the dynamic of any online argument. He invited the man into the ring, and the troll showed up, which deserves acknowledgement because most people don't. What followed was a professional boxing lesson delivered without anger or drama. Sonny wasn't trying to punish him. He was simply demonstrating, clearly and methodically, exactly how large the gap between online confidence and actual skill really is. By the final bell, every word written across weeks of posts had been answered in full. Number 8. Paddy the Baddy versus U.S. Marines. There is a particular kind of test that carries more weight than a sparring session with an internet troll. United States Marines are not civilians looking for content. They are trained, physically conditioned, and operating with a level of discipline that puts them in a completely different category from most challengers. So when a group of Marines stepped up at an event, Paddy didn't hesitate. What followed demonstrates a specific kind of gap, not the gap between a fighter and a random street guy, but between people who are physically formidable and people who have dedicated their entire lives to the science of fighting. Paddy moved through those rounds with a comfort and control that made it clear the challenge, as serious as it was still operating well within his range. Number 9. Jordan Williams stops car thief at gas station. Most people who witness their car being stolen have one realistic option: call the police and wait. Jordan Williams, a trained MMA fighter, chose differently. Surveillance footage captured the moment he ran out, yanked the thief directly out of his own vehicle, and handled the situation with an efficiency that only comes from years of training under pressure. What makes this clip stand out is Williams' own account afterward. He wasn't running on pure adrenaline. He was thinking clearly in real time, calculating how much force was necessary, trying to control the scene without causing more damage than the situation required. That is the detail that separates trained fighters from everyone else. It isn't just that they can handle the physical side, it's that the training gives them enough composure to think while it's happening. Number 10. Kung Fu Master gets exposed in China. This Kung Fu Master carried himself with the authority that comes from years of unchallenged demonstrations. Students who believed in the system, performances that looked impressive in controlled settings, a reputation that had never been seriously questioned. Then a real fighter showed up and asked a simple question: does any of this actually work? The answer came quickly. Every technique that had looked effective in choreographed practice fell apart the moment it met real striking pressure. The distance management failed. The defensive movements had no application against someone who wasn't cooperating. And for perhaps the first time in years, the master had no answer for what was happening. The dedication was real, but dedication to a system that was never tested is not the same thing as preparation. And the gap between those two things could not have been more visible. Every single person in this video had that one moment, the specific second where the plan stopped working, where confidence became confusion, and where aggression turned into something much quieter. You can see it happen in real time across every clip. The posture changes, the eyes change, and the whole energy shifts the moment someone realizes what they expected and what they got are two completely different things. Real fighters don't carry their training visibly. They don't announce it. They don't need to. It's already there, quiet and patient. And the people in this video found out about it the same way almost everyone does. Too late. If this video was worth your time, leave a like and subscribe, because out there right now, someone is making the exact same mistake, and we'll be here when they do.